All right, welcome to episode 4. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. Today, right, we're going to start with some pasta and pints. I'll tell you what I made today. Pasta olio. So this is a very simple recipe. Put it down. Don't eat yet.
Oh, no, I'm hungry.
Relax. So how do I make this? Spaghetti. I use some, Catelli, Canadian-made pasta. I boiled it up al dente. What I did was olive oil with garlic crushed, and then you know me, I like pancetta. I like the fat of the pancetta. Yeah. So I fried that all up so it was golden brown. When the pasta was al dente, I took a scoop of the water from the pasta, put it in, so it became a little bit more liquefied, not so harsh. Then once the pasta was drained, I poured everything in, soaked it in, and now you have a classic Southern
You put parm in it?
And then I put... After I did that, then I put parm. I sprayed parm all over it, and it baked into the pasta. So now you have pasta olio. I tell you why this is a traditional Southern Italian dish, a favorite my mom would make in the summer. It's very simple. You don't have to, think about pasta. We typically make pasta in September, right? So now you're talking June, July. This is easy. A little bit of olive oil. You fry it up, cook it light, and I'm going to tell you, it's freaking delicious. Try that.
Can we eat it now?
Yeah. Have a bite. Oh,
delicious.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm. It's a little salty, from the pancetta.
From the pancetta. Now, you know what? That's good fresh, but you know what? Why this is good? Cold the next day, because you still have the olive oil baked on it. You eat that the next day. You could have it cold, or you fry it up again.
Absolutely,
it'll last forever.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Very good.
Like
awesome.
it?
Beautiful.
All right. So, what are we going to pair with it today?
So today we have a beer that is near and dear to my heart. It's called Chimay. And
Chimay.
It's one of the oldest breweries in the world, but it's made by Trappist monks out of France, I believe.
This is a French beer?
Yeah, sorry, it's a Belgian beer.
Oh, Belgium. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say French beer.
Yeah. No,
Belgium is definitely the country for beer. Okay.
So it's Chimay. What I like about this, it's got double yeast in it. So when you look up, you can actually see the yeast in it. But this is a really good beer if you pair it with a good rustic pizza. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it tastes really good. So let's try this.
This is a nice little bottle. You know what it looks like syrup. To me, it looks like we're pouring syrup. It's like as dark as syrup. Look at that.
It's nice.
Look at your head. You like head this week. Let me see if I can do better. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's got a nice copper color. You can see the yeast in it if you hold it up to the light.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and it's beautiful tasting. It's very creamy.
I gotta wait. My head's my famous weekly head. It's still sitting there. Hold on. Okay, what's it taste like?
It's very creamy. It's got a very wheat flavor from the yeast, but it's very refreshing, and it makes a great pair with like I said before, a rustic pizza. Yeah, kind of cleans the palate.
A little different.
Really great on a summer day. I know it looks dark, but it's very refreshing despite it. And once again, made by Trappist monks, so you might get a little bit of
cheers.
Good luck with it. Cheers.
Well, this is what we're going to take into episode 4. This week, we've talked about the Leafs, our kids, our parents. This week, we're going to talk about the loves of our lives, our wives.
Beer.
And the
wives.
The beer. The loves of our lives, beer. And how we met them. Yeah. And it's pretty comical. Anyway, why don't we head out to the deck and we'll start today's episode.
Great.
All right. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the loves of our lives. Our dogs, no, our wives, and the story of how we met them. So,
smallest handcuffs in the world.
You better hope our wives aren't watching this.
They won't.
Anyway, where do you want to start? Do we want to start with the story about how you met Jen or how I met Judith?
No, you start with Judith because I think that's pretty funny how that happened.
Okay, well, honestly, I have to thank you and Jen. If it wasn't for you two, I would not have met my wife, Judith. Right? And it's an interesting story because there's a lot of comical things that happened on the way to meeting her. I always remember, I don't know if you remember, I always remember you coming to me because at the time I was living downtown with a girl, not that she was my girlfriend, it was just my friend. And you were dating Jen.
Yeah.
And you'd come to me and say, "Oh man, you got to meet this girl." Remember you were telling me how hot she was.
I didn't say it like I was attracted to her. I thought she'd make a good date for you. and she was good looking, like your type, with black hair and all that stuff.
So you asked me if I'd be interested, and I said, yeah. Well, I was downtown. I was just going out and having a good time with anybody. So I was like, yeah, let's go out. And what was it? We set up a date at my apartment, right?
Yeah.
If I remember that first time.
The first time we went.
So tell me, how did you convince her? How did you convince her to come up with me?
I'm my best friend since, I think I showed her some pictures at the time when she was at our house, and
pictures.
I said he's a great guy, and he's my best friend, and Jen of course loves you, and talked about your praises and stuff, and then we set a date to go play pool. You remember?
Yeah, you guys came down, and I think I got drunk before you guys even came to my apartment.
The funniest thing is Dave's always been a fitness health nut, so although he'll have a beer every once in a while, he's not the drinker. He's like the health guy, and for some strange reason, we go out for the first date. And you got
I got hammered. So we went to it was my stomping ground, right? It was Young and Eglinton. So I took you guys to, I think it was I can't remember. It was like a rowing bar, pool hall. And I was drinking my face off, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was so funny.
And like, honestly, she was attractive. So when she came to my apartment, I was like, oh, this girl's hot. Maybe I'll get lucky tonight. And we were drinking our faces off, and I was doing all my classic moves. I get drunk, try to like be cool at the pool table, this, that. And I think she was like absolutely unimpressed. Dude, I was the opposite. Knowing my wife, I was the opposite of what she likes that night.
It was like watching the Titanic sink. I was looking at her going, this is not going good. And I'm looking at Jen going, this is not going good.
I'm so drunk, I'm thinking this is going amazing. Oh, yeah. She's looking at my ass. She's looking at my ass. Yeah. She's looking at how she can get rid of this ass. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But I remember that night ended. So, as bad as it ended good because we went to, at the time, remember Fran's?
Yes.
We went for like the 2:00 in the morning bite to eat. And I always remember we got a tuna melt. And then the discussion came because we started talking about her cat.
Yeah.
Her pussy.
Yeah.
And I was like all over that joke. And I got her to laugh.
Yeah.
I got her to laugh. As bad as she thought I was a jerk, I got her to laugh. And we were telling stories about her big overweight cat. Now I got to meet this overweight cat. Something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that night ended. I think I was like one of those things where I thought, oh man, she is attractive. I like her. But I don't think she liked me after that.
Well, so hold on. So I just talked to Jen about it, and she was like, I don't think it's going to work out. Kind of, he's a big drinker. I'm like, but he's not a drinker at all. So
anyway, blowing me off already.
So to make a long story short, we ended up, Jen and I got engaged, and of course, Dave's my best man, and we get married. And
That's right. So listen, that was funny, that story, because you guys got married, and if I remember, Jen's cousin, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Joe,
we were trying to set you up with her.
Yeah, I remember her. I won't say the name, but anyway, remember that? There was like some interest there. I can't remember. But and then also, if you remember I'm not going to bring up names, but my old girlfriend was in your wedding party, and Judith always remembers this. Judith was sat at a table beside her boyfriend.
Yes.
So me and my old girlfriend are in your wedding party.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend is sitting beside Judith. She knows nothing about Judith. But she said that all he did was talk to her all night.
It's so funny. Anyway, we had our wedding was the funniest. It was the best. But we went on our honeymoon, Jen and I.
Oh, before you go there,
okay.
Then, I was in between. I was calling Judith because we were organizing your Jack and Jill.
Right.
So I was using that as an excuse to call her to see if she'd like help set up, go to the Jack and Jill. But she was sort of blowing me off. But I
was stalking her.
Yeah, I was stalking her, even though she was rejecting me every time I was trying to get her. But at that wedding, she sat beside that guy. She went, and I always let my mom and her tell the story. Judith goes to the bathroom. I think Jen's cousin and my old girlfriend in the bathroom, like just talking shit about me or something, like just make it funny. And Judith's in there hearing there, and my mom's in there hearing this going on and on. And Judith's thinking, man, this guy really is a jerk. Like, oh my God, he's horrible. So that after your wedding,
but hold on, stop for a second.
I still think that there was still a hard challenge.
Yeah. So we go away on our wedding for 2 weeks. We come back. Jen's parents are supposed to pick us up. We get to the airport. We come up the escalator.
But that's the whole journey.
But this is my point. So we go up the escalator, and Dave and Judith are arm in arm. And we're
So
like,
you leave the
what the
wedding.
hell? So what happened?
You
What
leave,
happened?
You leave the wedding. You're
What
thinking
happened?
this guy's like crazy drunk at my wedding. She's like not interested. You come back from your honeymoon, and here me and her was arm in arm, waiting and picking you guys up. So
it's like a movie.
On your honeymoon, I go into like code. Get this girl.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, I just basically said after the wedding, you know what? With all the chaos, I said I got to meet a normal girl. Like my life is like a bunch of crazy women, and I said this girl is. I mean, she's good looking, and she was sensible. And I remember my mom pointing her out, saying, "You know, this girl, she's like a really nice girl." She in the bathroom, she was like, "Oh my God!" And you know, why can't you meet someone like that?
Yeah.
And I thought that must be fate that my mom was talking about the girl that I actually like. So I basically, while you guys were gone, I called her up, asked her to go on a date. She was hesitant, but she said she would. So I made I made arrangements with my famous Italian restaurant. She came, and I have this. I don't know, it's very bad, but I always. My roommate used to laugh. She said like, "Well, I don't understand. You go out with these girls, you never get called back." I said, "Well, my rule is," and Judith, we went out that night. We talked all night, and we had I always remember calamari, pasta, 3 more. We go back and we walk in front of my apartment. So there's the test. We're in front of my apartment, and
She ran.
She'd run. We go in, we lean in, we have a kiss, and then she goes, "I'm going to go." She wouldn't come up, and I thought to myself,
"That's the one.
This is the girl." So then so she's good. She didn't sleep with me the first night. So she was so good, she slept with me the second night, though. So the next day, I say, "Why don't I come over to your apartment and I'll make you dinner?" So what's my famous dinner date? Do you remember my famous date dinner? Like, it's a famous meal I used to make with girls.
Pasta.
But what kind of pasta?
The alla vodka.
Pasta arrabbiata.
Oh yeah, the hot
spicy pasta because it get them all hot, and so you take your clothes.
But it never worked.
It worked that time. So we went there. I made her pasta arrabbiata, and we were sitting there watching TV and and then slowly the charm worked, and you know what? We've been together for like close to 30 years ever since then. But awesome. That was it, and we were like inseparable. Like, and I do remember, like, with my wife. So there's 2 stories, and then we'll get on to like how you met Jen, because that's also interesting. But we were like inseparable, spent so much time together, and it was like one of those things. Like I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't wait to see you the next day. I'd go to work, come back. I'd lost like 20 pounds being with her. So I said, "This has got to be the girl." And I always remember this. I meet her parents, everything's great. We get like engaged after 2 years. We get married. And I always remember when we got married, we're sitting in the car. You, me, Jen. Jen wasn't in the limo. It was me, you, and her sister. And Judith is screaming at me because her dress remember a little spill?
Yeah.
And she's like going on. And then you look at me and go, "Good luck." And I remember her dad saying to me, not congratulations, "Good luck."
Yeah. She has a bit of a temper.
A little bit of a temper, but all is good. But that was the funny. I always remember your faces because
I can't believe it.
How we left, and then you come back, and then from that moment on,
I think we discussed it, saying like it's too bad they couldn't get together, like and then you guys were together. It was great, and then we went to your wedding next. But so mine, it's funny. We were at a family reunion last year, and my nephews came up and said, yeah, "Uncle Andy, can you give me some advice on how to pick a good spouse?" And I said, "Well, ask Aunt Jen. She's better than I am." Just kidding. But
that's a good one.
in all honesty, though, you said something about your mother. I think it's really important because similar thing happened to me, where Jen's mom kind of picked me out of the crowd. So I remember I was dating girls all the time. I wasn't happy.
I remember the night you met because we went out that night to another bar.
Yeah,
and
it was after hockey though, and you went your separate ways.
No, we went to a bar. Yeah, after hockey, we went out for a bar, and I was dating a girl at the time.
Yeah, and then you left.
I left, and you were upset. You're like, I need, I got to find the right person.
There was this one girl I thought I was going to marry, and we were off and on, and finally I said, "You know what, God, I give up. I'm not looking anymore. I'm not looking." So like a week goes by, we're out, And then I'm driving through Main Street, Stouffville, and Fullerton's. Remember Fullerton's?
Fullerton's, yeah.
The new bar. And I drive up and I think it was John Turco's truck. And I thought, oh, John's here. I haven't seen him in a month. So I thought I'd go say hi to him. So I get out and I walk up. And as I'm walking into the pool room, there's this attractive older lady. I walk in and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "You're cute." And she grabs me by the arm and she takes me over, and there's a beautiful girl sitting there, and it's her daughter. And I guess Jen and her family were out celebrating her dad's.
Sorry, her mom,
her mother.
Oh, but you were thinking, older lady.
No, nothing like that. But anyway, she introduces me to Jen, and Jen said, "Well, maybe we'll go out sometime." And I said, as a joke, thinking Mr. Hot guy, I said, "Well, I was hoping to take you for breakfast in the morning," meaning I'm going to take you home tonight. And she had none of it. She didn't want nothing to do with it. So
what did she say?
So we were sitting there and like,
I fast. I only eat at lunch.
No. She said, "Yeah, we'll go out sometime." But I didn't realize, but she just broke up with her boyfriend, so she wasn't in the mood to date. And then the funny thing is that I had the exact same vehicle as her boyfriend had.
I see a trend here because that Judith had just broken up with her boyfriend. Maybe we're rebound husbands if I think about it, because I remember she was dating the quarterback from U of T. Yeah. And that night I told you, sleep with her. I forgot that part of the story. As we're watching TV, she gets a phone call and it's him. And they have a fight over the phone. That's funny. While I'm in there.
That's awesome. So anyway, we're sitting there getting to know, it's all her friends, her brothers, her mom, and her dad. And then all of a sudden, like an hour into it, her dad gets up and says, "Okay, we're all going back to our house." And he goes, "Andrew, you go with Jen, take Jen." And it was like the weirdest thing. And we go outside and Jen goes, "Oh my God." And I have a black Jeep YJ, and it's the exact same vehicle that her ex-boyfriend had. So we get in there and we get to their house, and we ended up playing Trivial Pursuit and just laughing our heads off. And I remember I had a couple drinks, and they said, "Well, you can't drive, so you got to stay over tonight." And
this is the first time you met them.
First time I met them.
They brought them to your house.
Yeah, first time.
I made you sleep over.
Made me sleep over, and nothing bad happened.
I'm just thinking shotgun.
No. And but we're walking up the stairs, and anyway, I go to her brother. Her one brother stayed out, so I slept in his room. She slept in her room, and in the morning, I there was a notepad in the kitchen, so I went and I put a note saying, "It was really nice meeting you and your family. Hopefully we can go out on a date. I really like you." And I snuck in a room and put it on her dresser, and then left. And then she called me, and we've been married almost 30 years.
Wow.
So I tell her on my honeymoon,
story.
not my honeymoon, on my anniversary every year, I said, honey, it's gone by like 10 minutes underwater. She hates that every year.
I can only imagine.
It's all good.
That is so funny.
So, Dave, we talked about how you guys met, but we failed to mention that Jen and Judith were actually friends before they even met us. They
I know.
4 years at U of T together.
I think there's a little bit of a conspy here.
Yes. It took us 30 years to figure out. Anyway, that's it was kind of nice that they were friends, and we ended up meeting two beautiful girls and getting married, and we've been married now almost 30 years. But why don't we talk about some of the things that happened along the way, like where we almost didn't get married?
Well, yeah, listen, I don't know if you remember this story, but you remember when I was dating Judith, and it was still early on, so there was no guarantee we were going to get married, and I was just in that try to impress mode. And I think it was like the first time we were going to sort of have a party with you guys. So we invited you New Year's Eve.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
You guys met me in Stouffville. We drove all the way to Oakville to her sisters. She invited us to her sisters for New Year's Eve. It was going to be our first New Year's Eve together. Yeah. And I was like, you know me, I'm a lightweight drinker, but I was just, I'll call it overexcited. Maybe you tell that story because it was hilarious.
Once again, Dave cannot drink. He's just not a drinker, and he brings a 1.5 bottle of red wine.
Obviously, I'm a drinker. I'm just not good at it.
So he goes, "Andy, do you want a glass of wine?" I love a glass of wine. So we're at her sister's place and brother-in-law's place, right? And they had recently got married, so we're there partying. I have a couple of beers. Dave goes, "You want a glass of wine for dinner?" I said, "Yes," but he gets these big glasses that are like, I swear to God, the bowl is like that. So he pours it. And he drinks it, but he doesn't realize he's almost drinking a 750 ml of wine because it took half a bottle of a 1.5 liter. So he's talking, and I'm looking across the room, and he's talking to us, and he's sitting behind the kitchen bar, and a sink, how there's two bowls in the sink in that divider part. He goes, I hear him slurring his words, and I look at Jen, I go, "Oh God, he's drunk." oh my God. and he takes the wine glass and he's talking to us and he sets it on that little strip that goes through the sink. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to spill the wine. But I'm across the room and I don't want
I'm a talented drunk.
So I don't want to make a big scene because her parents are there.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't that. It was just, you didn't want to make a scene. I was just trying to impress still.
So I'm like, oh my God. So he's talking. And as he's talking, the glass is sitting there and he's pouring the wine. And I swear to God, and the bowl on the wine is that big. And he fills it up. But you know when you're a kid, when you fill a glass up and it almost like it contours over the glass, but it doesn't spill. He's talking and he fills it up that much. And I'm like, oh my God, he didn't spill.
Now, in fairness, I mean, this is to you, this is kudos to you. I'm drunk, hammered. And when I get drunk, that's why I don't drink a lot. Because when I get drunk, I get belligerent. I just start talking. Yeah. And I think I was like mocking you while I'm drinking in front of everybody, right? Like, I don't know how you kept your cool while I was doing that.
Yeah, you were saying it's a pretty funny thing. Anyway. What was it? You fat fuck? Remember?
Fat fuck. I mean, it was. I think back is like the meanest thing, and you're laughing, but
I'm gonna suffocate him later. Anyway, so he's sitting there, and he leans over, and he realizes the glass is right on that line, and I'm like, oh my God! And he proceeds to put his mouth up, and he takes it back, and then he chugs the whole glass. So now he's had.
He said I wasn't a drinker.
I know. He didn't even give me a glass because. He asked me, but he drank it. So he drank a 1.5 and a half an hour?
Yeah.
I don't think you've had that much.
If anyone's drinking a lot, you know the stages. The first glass, I think it was like 3 glasses, right? The first glass, I'm a party boy. Like, I'm Mr. Exciting to everyone there. Second glass, I'm belligerent. People are still laughing, but I'm probably really inappropriate what I'm saying.
Yes.
Third glass, you know that feeling when you just don't want to lift your head anymore. You've poured it. And I literally couldn't lift my head anymore. So, and this is where you became the superhero.
Yeah, so I ended up thinking, okay, I got to get him out of the situation.
Now he's going to throw up everywhere in front of her friends and her sister. How do you do it?
So I got him out, so nobody really noticed it because I'm hypervigilant, right? So they didn't really notice how drunk he was. So I got him up to the washroom. You puked in the toilet, but everything was clean. I cleaned it up. And there was a spare bedroom there. And I thought, okay, great, we'll lay you down. And I made sure you're on your stomach so you didn't choke. And then I go downstairs, and then we're sitting there, and then Judith goes, how's Dave? But I said, well, he wasn't feeling too good. So I put him in the room beside the washroom. She goes, oh, my God. I said, what do you mean, oh, my God? She goes, did he puke? And I said, yeah, in the toilet. She goes, yeah, but she goes, I have a hand-knitted quilt from my grandmother that just passed away, and it's on that bed. I hope he doesn't puke on that. And I read up, and it's grape juice. Everywhere. But, yeah, that was your Jen.
But it goes nothing compared to the other story. What? When we brought Judith to your house. Do you remember what I had to do with her?
Judith might not like this story.
You don't think she liked this story?
No, I don't think so, but you can say it. Yeah. You can say it if you want.
Do you remember that story?
Yes, I'll never forget it.
So, as much as she did that for me, I think what really got her to realize this is the guy for me was when we were at your house. You guys had just moved into a house.
We just put a brand new bathroom in.
You guys just put a whole new bathroom in, and I can't remember what did we eat. You guys,
she wanted this burger. It was like a bison burger or something at this restaurant.
There were jalapeno peppers.
Yeah,
that's right, jalapeno peppers. It had jalapeno peppers, and she just couldn't take it, and she was on the bathroom shitting, and she called me in and she demanded that I sat with her, and I sat with her in that bathroom. This story's
going to be the reason why you're divorced.
Yeah, we sat with her holding her hand all night in the bathroom. She wouldn't let me leave, and I stayed because I loved her.
Yeah,
and she always says that's the reasons why she's there are, and so that's a great story. But that was the reason why we got married.
Can I build the background on this one though?
Yeah,
we were at this. It was a New Year's Eve party again. And I bought a brand new truck. Oh. And I said I would drive, but Judith said, I'll be the designated driver. I'm only going to have 1 glass of wine.
Yeah.
So
I was supposed to be allowed to drink that night, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
So we're drinking. We can't drive anymore. Judith gets 1 glass of wine, but she doesn't realize that the girl beside her has a glass of wine. So as Judith is drinking, there's a lady that's crazy drinking, and then ordering another one, and then another one. But Judith doesn't realize that she thinks her glass is full all the time, but she's drinking and it's still full.
And I have this little check mark with Judith. Like, as soon as her teeth turn purple, I know she's overdrank and she's not going to be able to recover. And I remember we were sitting there, and then I look at the table, and there's Judith laughing, and her teeth are like purple.
Yeah.
I thought to Judith, I think I looked at her, I go, I got to stop drinking. My God, she's hammered. Remember?
So I'm like, and then I'm worried because it's my brand new truck. I swear, we just picked it off the lot. And Dave's in the back seat with it. I go, Dave, she cannot puke in my new truck. She cannot do this. And so we're driving down. He goes, don't worry, I got it under control. I swear to God, 5 minutes later, we're driving. I got a tap on my shoulder. She's going to puke. And I'm like, I can't pull over. We're on the highway. And then
so she's throwing up. I don't want to mess up your truck, so I'm catching her puke. And you had like those
mad.
You had those rubber mats, so I'm catching your puke and I'm putting it into the rubber mat. Catching.
But you grabbed her purse, and then you grabbed her. Then you opened her purse, and she puked in her purse. Remember?
Oh, I can't remember that.
It was awful.
But I remember I was like putting it into your mat and holding
Poor
her.
Judith. If you ever met her.
The stuff we do for the people we love.
That's right.
Right.
But, I can remember thinking about funny stories. My first argument. We'll talk about yours, but my first argument, I had two. The first one was we move into our first house, and Jen goes, "Do you want some pasta?" And I grew up with Italian, so I love pasta, right? And so she's making spaghetti, and I look across the kitchen, and she's got the noodles, and she's breaking them in half and putting them in the pot.
Oh my God, that is like the most. I know. Oh, so sacrilegious.
So what? So me,
man, that's a breaker. I don't know if I could have got married if I saw that.
So I look at her and I go, "Honey, if I want a macaroni, I would ask for macaroni." And she looks at me. Oh, it was the worst argument ever.
That is hilarious.
But I grew up with people that,
they were like, what the fuck? Please don't do that in front of my mom.
Can you imagine? So then, about a month into it, I have to fly out to BC with my boss. And I asked Jen the night before, and this is the lesson learned. You know this lesson. And I said, Jen, I have my suit shirt, my blue suit shirt, it's my lucky shirt, and I got to present tomorrow in BC. Would you mind ironing it for me? Because she's better at it than I am. So she irons my shirt. So I wake up at 5. I had to leave early. So it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm getting all my stuff. I'm going through the closet. And I look. And she ironed the wrong shirt. Not my lucky shirt. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So she's sleeping. And I'm like, Jen. And she wakes up. And
buddy, I don't mind. I would never. I would get killed for that one.
I go, Jen. And she goes, oh, what? I said, you're in the wrong shirt. and she looks at me and she goes, fuck off. She has never ironed a shirt.
Oh my God. I can't believe you said that. You've got balls.
She has never ironed a shirt ever again.
That is so funny.
Lesson learned. So the look she gave me as if, are you fucking kidding me? It was so funny. Anyway.
No. You know what? I'd say I've just never gotten in a fight with my wife.
That's smart. She kick your ass. That's why.
Yeah, I'm just afraid of her.
Yeah.
I told you, like the last time, in our marriage, she's the alpha.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever she says goes. And I always remember, like, being an Italian family, arguments. And I learned early not to argue because you just can't win an argument. Like, it'll just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So when Judith gets upset and she's yelling at me,
that makes you head.
I literally look, because I gotta pretend like I'm paying attention, and then I care.
Yeah.
But I'm in my head, I'm arguing back. Like, I'm arguing back in my head. I'm like, no way, but I am not opening my mouth, because I know as soon as I so many times I wouldn't argue, and she'd push me. I think she just wants me to argue. She'd push me, and then as soon as I said something, I knew like, it's just coming out of my mouth. I regret even saying the words, because this is it. I'm annihilated. So
my wife never wants to argue.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, we've both, like you said, both of us have cleaned each other up. Both of us as supporters. We're very lucky. We
punched above our weight class, Dave.
We did. So, yes. I mean, in my mind, people must look and say, how the hell did he get her? And so she's like way above my sort of grade. So I'm just fortunate. So with that, like, listen, no one's perfect. Yeah. And, arguments are good, because it means you can deal with it. When you can't, if you don't have arguments, which, you know, when people say, like, Judith will always say, well, look at them, they're so happy they do that. I go, no, no, no. What you see is what is happy. What you don't see is behind the scenes.
Yeah,
it has to happen. You have to have arguments, right? I think it's inevitable. Like, listen, I grew up, my mom and dad have been married like 50 plus years. They've had crazy fights and arguments. Crazy fights and arguments. So it's just part of it. And I always remember my dad saying, you know, we grew up, when things are broken, we fix them.
Yeah.
The problem today is when things are broken, we buy new things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of what you see in marriage. And that's my personal opinion. You see in marriage is if it's broken, well, fuck it, just go buy something new. Where, you know, the idea is if you can fix it, fix it.
Yeah.
You're going to get more value out of it. And it's just
we've been
so
lucky
important.
though. Our wives have been pretty good. They're solid. They're faithful, and they're good. They're mean sometimes, but they're really good people.
But outside of that, honestly, Judith's been awesome. She's feisty. She's got
great mom.
A wicked temper. She's a great mom to her daughters. You know, I think that the fact that I am the submersive one, like, again, opposites attract. I think if we were the same, the marriage wouldn't last. Like, so if she was married to my brother or someone else, it probably wouldn't last.
That'd be weird,
right? Yeah, it'd be weird if she was married to my brother. It'd be different. Yeah, you're right. But it's just compatible, right? I think for her, it was a good match because I need someone to keep me in line, and she does. And she needs someone to just listen to her. And, you know, that's what I do. I mean, even though she says I'm not empathetic and this of that nature, but, you know, it's hard when you're yelling at me all the time to be empathetic. But
why are you never going to leave Jen?
Yeah. Why are you never going to leave your wife? Your wife just asked, so you better have a good answer.
Do you think I'm going to make her happy? I'll never leave her.
I'm spiked. I'm never leaving my wife.
No. I wouldn't know how to drive if it wasn't for my wife.
Well, I think the interesting thing here is the story is we both of us met our spouses through drinking beer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, true.
Both started with a drink at a bar.
Yeah.
Right? But it ended with family, friends. And the great thing is, this is sort of unique, right? If it wasn't for you and Jen, I wouldn't have met the love of my life. I wouldn't have the family I have. So I am forever grateful.
Checks in the mail.
I will pay you when I die.
Yeah, exactly. No problem.
But I got to thank you because honestly, I probably would have been like married to a stripper and she would have like left me.
It's quality people, man. We put quality people together. That's all we did. We didn't do anything. We just kind of led you to support each other.
Yeah. So thank God you met Jen.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't meet Jen, I wouldn't have ever met Judith.
That's true. That's true.
And what are the chances best friends marry best friends?
God works in mysterious ways, my friend. But it's all good. It's all good.
All right. Cheers. Well, listen, that is a dandy idea, right?
Cheers.
About using friends to find the loves of our lives. You met those people through actually going out and meeting people. I see my kids now, and I see how it works, and I hope that someday it'd be something similar to what I experienced.
I think this episode's going to get us lucky with the lives tonight.
You think so?
No.
I don't think it's going to work. I think my wife's like, what did you just talk about? Anyway, till next time, pints to pasta. Remember, we're on Instagram, YouTube channel, plus Spotify. Feel free to listen. DM us with any ideas you think we should cover on our show. Till next time.
God bless.